Sheldon isn't in the Georgie and Mandy's first marriage premiere, and unfortunately, while it's hilarious, its best young Sheldon pilot Easter egg just further highlighted his absence. Picking up a couple of months after George's death, the new show will shift its focus on George and Mary's eldest, as he builds a life with his Mandy and Cece. While it's essentially a follow-up on young Sheldon, the Coopers won't have the same prominence in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. That said, to establish the connection between it and its predecessor, CBS brings back Georgie's family, except Sheldon. Unlike many of its peers, young Sheldon's cancellation wasn't because of the lack of interest from the public. Instead, it's because of the established The Big Bang Theory timeline, predetermining when the show would end. With that, the young Sheldon finale capped off with Sheldon moving to Pasadena, California, to begin his postgraduate studies. This is why it's trickier to feature him in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage than his other family members. That said, the sequel's pilot inadvertently makes his absence more glaring with its hilarious young Sheldon reference. The young Sheldon pilot also featured a train scene, but with Sheldon. Georgie and Mandy's first marriage episode 1, The 610 to Lubbock, opens with Georgie, Mandy, and baby Cece still living with the McAllisters. After Mima's house was destroyed in the young Sheldon season 6 finale and the Cooper's house became too cramped, the trio moved to Mandy's parents, which resulted in brand new issues, particularly with how Audrey treats Georgie. Fed up, the new family moved out to a mobile home beside a train station, which means that the whole structure would shake whenever trains pass by. Aside from being the most hilarious bit in the Georgie and Mandy's first marriage pilot, it also brilliantly references the young Sheldon premiere, which opened with a scene with trains. Just before the rest of the Coopers were introduced in their first meal in the prequel, Sheldon was busy playing with his train model in the garage. Young Sheldon wasn't able to feature the toys as prominently in its latter seasons because of everything else happening in the show, however. Sheldon would have loved Georgie and Mandy's dumpster mobile home. As established in The Big Bang Theory, Sheldon never lost his love for trains. During some of his most emotionally challenging moments, he would revert to playing them in his room. While they were never fully displayed in either of the apartments that he lived in, the models were always close by. Considering this, it's safe to say that if Sheldon could visit Georgie and Mandy's mobile home, learning that it is beside a train track would definitely have thrilled him. Unfortunately, because he isn't in the Georgie and Mandy's first marriage's premiere, everyone is just grossed out over it. What makes this worse is that no one even brings up the idea that Sheldon would have loved the home despite its desolate state because of its proximity to trains. Granted that everyone is more focused on Georgie and Mandy's new living situation and delivering the comedic bit when the house shakes when a train passes by, but it's a wasted opportunity to reference the boy genius. While the Georgie and Mandy's first marriage premiere does acknowledge Sheldon, it's mostly to highlight his oddness, as compared to Mandy's brother, Connor. As previously mentioned, featuring Sheldon in the latest The Big Bang Theory franchise installment will take a little more work, considering his circumstances. He could only really visit his brother and his new family during school breaks or if there's an urgent matter that pulls him back to Texas. However, that may take a while to happen since Georgie and Mandy's first marriage's Thanksgiving episode doesn't include him. The great news is that the producers have shared that they are actively finding ways to feature the boy genius. At some point, Sheldon will have to come home, especially since he doesn't have Leonard and the rest of the Pasadena gang yet in California, per the established The Big Bang Theory timeline. Ian Armitage, on the other hand, has expressed his desire to reprise the role, even in a cameo capacity in Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. So, it shouldn't be difficult to recruit him back, assuming that his schedule lines up with the show's filming.